This is every insane Pokemon NPC in 10 minutes. First, let's start off with one of the earlier games. The Magikarp salesman outside of Mount Moon is one of the most infamous NPCs in Pokemon history. His offer for a Magikarp for 500 Pokédollars is widely regarded as one of the worst trades in the series. What makes this moment so iconic is how it plays into the player's early experience with Pokemon. Because when you encounter him, you're still in the relatively early stages of the game, and 500 Pokédollars is a significant amount of money. For that price, you'd expect something decent. You could buy a couple Pokeballs or Great Balls, yet you receive a level 5 Magikarp, an incredibly weak Pokemon known for its useless splash move. This makes it a definite scam. What adds to the hilarity of this whole situation is that this character reappears multiple times throughout the Pokemon games. He appears in Pokemon Ruby, Sapphire, and Emerald, and in the remakes Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire. And the Magikarp salesman this time has increased his price to 1,000 Pokédollars, probably because of inflation. And this man literally expects you to pay 1,000 Pokédollars to buy a Magikarp. And again, he reappears in Pokemon Black and White on Marvelous Bridge, and again he's selling a Magikarp for 500 Pokédollars. This time, for once in his life, it's actually a good deal because Magikarp are not native to the Unova region, and this is one of the only ways to get a Gyarados in the game. But the interesting thing is, he's not just a one-time NPC, he's a recurring character with a habit for selling worthless Pokemon to people for large amounts of money. In the anime, he also makes multiple appearances, and he in fact was the one that sold James his Magikarp, which resulted in some wild consequences as it soon after evolved into Gyarados and attacked Team Rocket and ruined their day. He's also responsible for Jessie getting her Wobbuffet even though he didn't directly sell it to her. Overall, he's a great character that makes many appearances throughout the games and the show, and it's a testament to how far a salesman can go in life. The next NPC to spark our curiosity is all the way in the Kalos region, specifically Lumiose City. Within the bustling streets of the city lies a weird person that has haunted Pokemon players for years. This is the Lumiose City Ghost Girl. If you wander through the city, you'll find a typical office building, and when the player steps onto the second floor, the music cuts out, and the lights flicker ominously. Suddenly, a Hex Maniac NPC appears behind you, but she has no walking animation and eerily floats towards you. She utters the cryptic phrase, "No, you're not the one," before vanishing, never to be seen again. Now, the game has never revealed the reason for the Ghost Girl's presence, and many theories have sprung up, such as the fact that she's looking for one player with a specific ID, and that player will receive an item or a specific badge or a ghost type Pokemon or a shiny. But this NPC reappears in the Hoenn region in the remakes of Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire because there's a Hex Maniac on Mount Pyre who says the same exact line, "No, you're not the one," although this time she doesn't disappear. This is an interesting coincidence, and to this day we still don't know why this NPC is in the games at all. The next one is a softlocking NPC who we've covered before, but the story is just so crazy that I have to mention it again. In Pallet Town in the Kanto region where trainers begin their journey, there's a seemingly harmless girl who can softlock you in a very unusual way because of the flaw in the game design. Walking around Pallet Town, this NPC gives a standard generic dialogue, just like any other townsperson. However, the girl has a unique mechanic because whenever you move towards her, she attempts to move away from you in the opposite direction, almost like she's trying to avoid you. If you make the correct movements, Professor Oak will come and take you to the lab, but she throws you off the trajectory path by 1 square, so that you end up stuck in the wall permanently. It is actually pretty frightening considering that the only thing you can do to save yourself is restart the game. And God forbid that you save the game here because you're stuck here forever in that case. The next NPC to stand out in our journey is Ferris, who's a guy in the Pokemon Center at Silage City, which is in Pokemon X and Y. Ferris offers one of the wildest in-game trades imaginable. Your love disc for his Steelix, named Thumper. It will be at level 20 and have an impish nature, and it has the moves Rage, Stealth Rock, Autotomize, and Gyro Ball. The sheer craziness of this trade is what's shocking to me, because not only is Steelix way stronger than a Love Disc, It's literally impossible to get one unless you trade an Onyx, whereas a Love Disc is something you can catch with an old rod anywhere in the game. It's actually laughable how bad this trade is. And the only reason people have theorized he wants a Love Disc is because Valentine's Day is coming up maybe, and he wants to get a Pokemon for his girlfriend. The next NPC to look out for is Mr. Briny, a seemingly harmless old man in Pokemon Ruby and Sapphire, who might just ruin your game if you're not careful and you make some bad decisions. After helping him rescue his Wingull, Pico, he becomes your boatman, offering you free rides between key locations in the game. But there's a massive problem. Mr. Briny will take you to Petalburg after defeating the gym on his island. But after you defeat your father Norman in Petalburg, he's supposed to give you Surf. But if you don't talk to Norman and you have an Abra and you teleport back to your last saved location, which is on the island, you'll find something terrible. Mr. Briny is gone from the island and you're stuck in what's known as a soft lock. Another interesting piece of info is that you need Surf to continue your journey if you want to escape the island. And Mr. Briny's boat is no longer available and Surf is with Norman back in Petalburg City. If you save here, there's essentially no escape from the island. The next group of NPCs we'll meet is in Pokemon Emerald. There's a group of a few NPCs you can meet in the Pokemon Center in the game, but the one you encounter is dependent on the last digits of your trainer ID. Each of these characters has their unique little interaction. If the last digit of your trainer ID is 0 or 1, you'll meet the Bard. The Bard sings you a song, and after listening, you can replace the words he sings if you chat to him and respond with certain answers. He'll then sing the updated lyrics with the words you chose. The only exception, you can't use the word Celebi for some reason. If your trainer ID ends with a 2 or a 3, you'll meet the Hipster who adds a new word to your vocabulary, which then you can mix with the Bard. But the thing is, you'll have to mix records with another player to get a new NPC. With a 4 or 5 ending trainer ID, you'll meet the Trader. He offers you to swap secret base decorations. Next up is the Storyteller. Now the Storyteller is for players with IDs ending in 6 or 7. He shares odd and extremely specific statistics about your gameplay. He can tell you how many ledges you've jumped down, how many times you've used Splash, even how many times you've checked the clock in your room at home in the game. His info gives you a deeper look into the weird thing the game tracks for some reason. And then there's Giddy, the NPC you'll meet if your trainer ID ends in 8 or 9. Giddy doesn't really do anything. He just asks you random yes or no questions, and your answers don't change anything. There's no reward, no consequences. He's just there, making Giddy sort of a oddball. These NPCs are an interesting little feature in Pokemon Emerald, and they add a fun social aspect since you'll need to mix records with other players to interact with different ones. The next NPC on our list is not from the games, he's from the anime, but there is a special twist. In the Pokemon anime Diamond and Pearl, there's a guy standing in the Sinnoh League registration line with a Heatran, a legendary Pokemon right next to him. What's crazy is that no one around him seems to care at all. Heatran, a powerful legendary Pokemon, is just chilling there like it's any other ordinary day. And no one seems to bat an eye. A lot of people on Reddit pointed out how strange this is. One guy joked, "This guy brings a freaking Heatran to the Pokemon League and nobody even notices." And what he's saying kind of makes sense, because it's odd how Heatran gets no special attention. But anyway, this guy's definitely a legend for not only catching Heatran, but flexing it in the Sinnoh League. Our next NPC is the man in the Pokemon Center of Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver in Cyanwood City, which is an island off the coast of the map. And as I've covered on the channel before, his purpose is to provide you with an infinite supply of Pokemon if you meet certain conditions. If you release all your Pokemon except one and that Pokemon can't use the HM move Surf or Fly, this NPC will notice and he will offer you a Tentacool to help you out. This was added by the developers of the game to prevent you from getting stuck on the island without any way to leave, a problem in the original Gold and Silver games. What's interesting about this guy is that if you release the Tentacool that he gave you, he'll literally just spawn another one out of thin air and offer it to you again. And he'll repeat this process infinitely if you keep on releasing the Tentacool. And while his role is purely practical in a game sense, a lot of people have made some fan theories about why this guy has so many Tentacools, such as the fact that he's a chef or a Tentacool killer, which makes him kinda Tentacruel. The next one on our list is from one of the newer games, Brilliant Diamond and Shining Pearl. And in these games, there's an NPC named Ace Trainer Deanna, with a Trophius. But what's interesting is, as soon as you start the battle, she throws out the Trophius in a Cherish Ball. The Cherish Ball is a Pokeball known to be only available through events or Wi-Fi gifts, and it leads us to a striking discovery. Because the reason she has it is that in the original Diamond and Pearl games, there was a gift Pokemon which was a Trophius that came in a Cherish Ball. So this is proof that NPCs can receive gifts just like any normal player can, and they can use Wi-Fi gifts and all of that. And also, this is proof that she received that Trophius 20 years ago in the original Diamond and Pearl games. The next NPC is slightly eerie. This NPC is in Pokemon Black and White 2, and it's located just outside of Lentimus Town in a rundown house holding a unique, creepy vibe. In this house, furniture rearranges itself as you move in between floors, and a ghostly girl occasionally appears delivering cryptic messages. Her words speak of darkness, endless dreams, and her lost family, with references to an Abra and a longing to return a lunar wing. The girl's tragic story seems connected to the Pokemon Darkrai and Cresselia. As the house hints through various books, Darkrai induces nightmares, while Cresselia's lunar wings can dispel nightmares. The girl seems trapped in a nightmare possibly caused by Darkrai, and her family might have sought out the lunar wing to dispel those nightmares, but unfortunately for them, it was too late. Eventually, you'll find the lunar wing in the house, and the girl asks you to return it to its rightful place at Marvelous Bridge, where you can catch Cresselia in the game. As for the girl, lore and logic suggest that she died as a result of Darkrai's nightmares. And now for the last NPC on our list. This one doesn't have a secret item, it doesn't have a backstory or anything strange or creepy about it, but her dialogue is just hilarious. In Pokemon Black and White, there's supposedly an NPC somewhere in the water who says, "If I'm wearing a bikini, where do I put my Pokeballs?" And then she laughs and says it's a woman's secret. Now this has got to be the steamiest dialogue coming out of any NPC in Pokemon. Especially considering there's only one place where she could possibly keep her Pokeballs, but I'm not going to say where. And this is a reference you probably would have forgotten if you played the game as a kid like I did. Anyway, that was the video. Please leave a thumbs up and subscribe, and peace out.